You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a not that long review of Jackass Forever. Like Jackass, the main crew, people like Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Dave England, Chris Pontius, and filmmakers like Jeff Tremaine and Spike Jonze came together I think around the end of the 90s on MTV and made this TV show where they just pulled pranks on each other and rode around on skateboards. It became very influential, and it was actually a little bit of a rip-off of, who does he use the guy that did Freddie Get Fingered that was married to Courtney Cox? I can't remember his name now, but he kind of did it first, I think, where these horrible, obscene and juvenile pranks were turned into a film, or in this case, an MTV show. And MTV got a bit twisted by it because everyone was imitating the stunts. So the Jackass people went, yep, we're taking this and we're making movies, and they made a few $100 million out of doing so across 3 movies, which remain, pound for pound, minute for minute, the most laugh-out-loud comedies made this century. A perfectly executed groin shot is just always going to be hilariously funny. And the fact that they've never strayed very far from that. All 3 films are pretty equal. Not everything works. They do a bit of gross out humour and extended skits, which were, skits where the public aren't in on the joke and so on. They gave up in 2010, had a beautiful run with Jackass 3D, the last of those films. And everyone just assumed that they wouldn't come back again because they were, doing really dangerous physical stuff to themselves and were getting too old to do so. But they came back 12 years later with Jackass Forever, and it's exactly the same as the other films. I've seen reviewers talking about how, the effects of time on them and stuff, but it is much closer to the original films than I expected it to be across the board. Bam Margera, one of the main crew, there's a court case ongoing because they kicked him out. Apparently he's a really, really bad drug addict at the moment, and they were going to keep him in the film if he stayed clean for the duration, and that never happened. So they kicked him out, and that's been going backwards and forwards in court. Bit sad, but most of the original crew are here, apart from one guy who died in a car accident. I can't remember who that one was. But they do the same as they've always done, which is well-executed groin shots, gross stuff like drinking pig semen, bigger scope things like covering Steve-O's private parts in a beehive, which look particularly painful. And there's the killer one here. They reenact a lot of the stunts from previous shows, deliberately trying to stage it as well. And years ago, Johnny Knoxville, who's always been the craziest out of all of them, an absolute nightmare to know as a friend, stood with a blindfold on and a cigarette in his mouth and let a ball charge him. And he went spiralling through the air, and it didn't look fun, to be honest. He recreates that here, and the ball is not happy, and he goes round like a cartwheel and is out cold and is in hospital with a few breaks and sprains, and very, very lucky to be alive. It does not look good. But for the most part, again, this is just absolute laugh-out-loud comedy. They get a bit more graphic in their use of their nether regions in this one. I'm not sure if the censors have grown a little more kind to that kind of thing over the years, but they get them out a fair bit in this film. The odd thing here and there isn't as memorable. I've never really gone for a lot of the public setup ones where they dress up as a character and stuff happens in a shop. Sometimes they're brilliant. The one where the old guy gets flipped through the ceiling is hysterical, but it's not. The thing with these films is that there's such short skits that you're never far away from something that is going to make you laugh out loud. And it is hysterical watching them all stand there and having these machines that will hit them in the nether regions particularly hard as they do a game show where getting the wrong answer results in that. It is always going to be funny. And I'm kind of glad that there aren't as many gross out gags in this one, because some of them are really horrible. So yeah, there's probably less of the high octane physical violence they do to themselves, but not say you'd notice. I mean, that ball thing's the worst thing I've ever seen them do. And they certainly go off their ramps into the air and smash into the water from great heights, so I didn't really notice the passage of time had caught up with them. I think if there is a change here, it's that they're all, they're lifelong friends and they're well aware of what they're doing and how funny a lot of it is. So, very enjoyable, puerile, juvenile, stupid, dumb, and often hysterically funny. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 for Jackass Forever.